everyone, welcome to today's session. Today we are presenting a webinar on the world of nanomaterials. And today our presenter is Dr. Sonal Thakur. She is Associate Professor at the Center of Advanced Studies in Department of Chemistry at the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda. Her area of research is synthesis and application of polymer and nanomaterials in catalysis and drug delivery and environment. She is a coordinator of Institute of Interdisciplinary Studies of MS University of Baroda. She has published 50 international articles and guided 4 PhD students. Also, 6 research scholars are working under her. So, before we get started, students, if you are having any questions during the presentation, then please you have to send me your questions through WhatsApp. Okay, so I'll bring all those questions during at the end of the session. Okay, so now without further ado, we'll turn the time to presenter. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Pratiksha.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So, hello everyone. Good morning. Thank you for the nice introduction, Pratiksha. I've been working in this field of nanomaterials since more than 10 years. And I forgot to mention one thing is that I have 2 Indian patents also to my credit. So something related to that and some introductory questions I will share with you today. So, can I know what is the audience as far as students are concerned, Pratiksha?
Ma'am, yes, students are in meeting, but they are not able to speak or type.
No, they are BSc students or what?
No, they are from both bachelor's as well as master's.
Masters. Okay, fine. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Yeah, okay, fine. So now, of course, everybody has heard that a lot of nanotechnology, nanomaterial, nanoscience, lot of these terms are going around. So first of all, let us understand what is nanoparticle and what is so much about nanoparticles that's so interesting about them. There's a lot of research going on in nanomaterials. See, actually, when we talk about chemistry, we think that there are 3 branches: organic, inorganic, and physical. And one more branch may be analytical, right? But there is something called material science, okay, or material chemistry that is developing very fast. Now, this material science is actually a blend of physics, chemistry, biology, everything. So we call it as interdisciplinary subject, interdisciplinary science, or interdisciplinary type of work. So a lot of that work is taking up nowadays. The blending of one subject into another. For example, when you were in school, you started with science, then where you were only learning science in the lower classes. Slowly, the science got split into chemistry, physics, and biology. But we know that they are all a part of science, right? And then slowly, chemistry also split up. Everything split up, right? Biology also split up. But ultimately, one is related to the other. So now finally when we come to the research level, again we try to because it has become so much different from each other, we think that they are all different subjects, but it is not like that. Slowly people came to know that we have to look for the solution of one subject into the other. So that is what the material chemistry or material science is all about. So these nanomaterials and polymers, they all actually fall under this material science, which is now gaining a lot of importance. Since more than 5 years, it has picked up like anything as far as research is concerned. And rather than going for those traditional subjects, people prefer to do research in these subjects. So first, let us try to understand what a nanoparticle is. So it's a microscopic particle, and when we go by the definition, it has to have size less than 100 nanometers and at least in one dimension. This is very important, at least in one dimension. So whether we talk about, so it need not be a spherical particle. What do you mean by this one dimension? Okay, I'll just explain to you anyway with more examples, then it will become clear. But for now, you can remember that the size has to be less than 100 nanometers and even ideally less than 10 nanometers for real applications, and but in one dimension. So again, as I said, what is so fascinating about the nano size? Okay, that one has to try to understand. So the answer lies in the electromagnetic spectrum, right? You all know what is this electromagnetic spectrum, right? So we know that, and what I have separately portrayed or shown out is the visible region. We are very much familiar with this visible region. It is of interest because this is the region wherein we can see the particles or see anything. Okay, whatever. This is the region where humans are able to see things. Okay, so all our, even if it are microscopes, our microscopes also can enlarge. Okay, but within this region only. So this region is very important, 400 nanometers to 700 or 750 nanometers. Right now, when you talk about nanoparticles, as I said, they are below 100 nanometers. So you can understand if the wavelength of visible light is between 400 to 750 nanometers, nanoparticles are smaller than the wavelength of visible light. I hope this point is very, because this is the point which has to be very clear, which is the base for all the novel properties that these nanoparticles show. Okay. So what happens is that a nanoparticle we can consider as a cluster of atoms. See, it's the nanoparticle. It's not even, atoms are even smaller, molecules are even smaller. Okay, we have, it's not that nanoparticles are the smallest particles. We know atoms and molecules which are very, very small, right? But even more than, and they are known for years. But nanoparticles somehow is found to be more interesting than atoms and molecules also. Okay, so what is that, right? So this is because this nanoparticles are cluster of atoms, small cluster of atoms. The atoms grow to form a nanoparticle. The atoms grow to form a nanoparticle. Okay, so atoms are in the size of angstrom. The radius, etc. We know angstrom is the smallest unit. Yeah, that we talk about. So when the atoms grow, they just grow up to 100 nanometers. उतने ही particles agglomerate होके बनाते हैं nano particle. Okay, so if it is a cluster of atoms, there are atom orbitals also. So you will have a cluster of orbitals also, and you have valence electrons also, right? You have valence electrons, but only few because the number of atoms are also restricted. Okay, so you have few number of atoms, few number of orbitals, few number of electrons. So these few number of electrons form an electron cloud. Okay, so this electron cloud is the one which is responsible for the various properties that we will see now. So nanoparticles, this is what I just mentioned, what is quantum confinement. This is what I meant when I said that. Okay, so nanoparticles have unexpected visible properties because they are small enough to confine their electrons and produce quantum effects. They are small enough to confine their electrons and produce quantum effect. That is, their electrons, as I just said, it's a small cluster of atoms, small cluster of valence electrons. So electrons are confined in that small 100 nanometer region. Okay. And then if they want to, you know what is quantum effect now? What is meant by that? We know that in an atom, the electrons are, they jump to the higher level by absorbing energy, and by emitting energy, they come back to the lower levels, right? So this is possible even within nanoparticles also, because they are cluster of atoms, there are orbitals, so the electrons are free to move within these orbitals. So when you give some energy, the electrons will jump from one orbital to the other within that nanoparticle, and again it can come back. This leads to unexpected visible properties. For the most important visible property would be color, or most common, you know. So so you can see these are some nanoparticle solutions. Okay, and you can see that they are transparent, they are almost transparent solutions, right? So nanoparticles are smaller than the wavelength of light, therefore you cannot see them with naked eyes. Okay, because they are smaller, and therefore you don't see even if they are lying. The basic concept lies again in colloids. They are more or less colloidal solution. Okay, you have studied about colloids. We are studying in the conventional chemistry. So we know that colloids, but they are micron sized. They are micron sized. This we are talking about a little more smaller particles. That is the reason that we can see the Brownian motion of colloids. Okay, but we cannot see that the nanoparticles easily because they are still smaller. But like colloids, they remain diffused. Colloids are diffused, they don't settle down. We know colloids, for example, milk is an example of colloid, or dust dispersed in air is an example of colloid. Tyndall effect, if you remember, when you have a dark room and when there's a sun ray falling in the dark room, you can see the particles of dust moving in the dark room, and that is, these dust particles are the particles which are suspended in the air. If you if you open up all the lights, then you cannot see these particles. If you're sitting in some room, there also some dust particles are there, but you are not able to see them. But with simple microscope, you can see them, right? So you cannot see with naked eyes because they are smaller, but with microscope you can. Okay, so they are not very small, that's why. But the point is they remain diffused. वो सरफेस में ही रहते हैं, वो नीचे बैठ नहीं, आप थोड़ा वेट करेंगे ना तो भी ऐसा नहीं होगा कि वो धीरे धीरे बैठ जाएंगे नीचे और वो खाली हो जाएगा एयर, ऐसा नहीं होगा. कंटिन्यूअस मूवमेंट रहती है, पार्टिकल्स are always there in suspended form. Okay, that is a characteristic of colloids. And nanoparticles are also, this property of colloid is similar to that of nanoparticles. So nanoparticles remain suspended. So that is one thing. Okay, so you observe a clear solution, a uniform solution with having very small colloidal particles. Okay, and now what we see is the color. So you can see of course, I'm sure the red color solution is more attractive here, and I have labeled it as gold. Okay, now we know the color of gold metal. Everyone knows gold metal. So what is the color of gold metal? It is golden, right? It is, but it is not like this at least. ये जो red है, reddish तो नहीं होता है. Golden is almost close to yellow, we can say, but not close to red, right? But when you a colloidal solution or a nanoparticle solution of gold is going to be red in color. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so when you bring gold, the simple thing is that gold, which is golden, when you just bring them to the gold atoms are brought to the nano size, their color is different. That means their absorption and emission properties have changed. Color is a result of absorption and emission properties, and it is changing. Okay, and that changes the color. So a gold nanoparticle solution would appear transparent red colored. Similarly, silver, the first one which you see, silver, is yellow in color. Similarly, silver shows a yellow color in the nano form. Okay, and copper shows a wine red color. Copper shows a wine red color. Okay, so these colors are these nanoparticles have a characteristic color. So their formation can be seen by the change in color. We mainly talk about gold, silver, and copper. Okay, coin metals, they are called coin metals because we can make coins out of them. So these three are particularly interesting, and their formation, when you're trying to make the nanoparticles, whether bane ki nahi bane, how can you ensure? By the change in color. If I'm making a gold nanoparticle solution, if I get the red color, I see that it has formed. Okay, so these colors are characteristic, and these colors are because of the quantum confinement that I just told you. Okay, so this is, for example, if you see silver nanoparticle, this is from a picture from our lab. We have been working with silver nanoparticles. So the first one does not have the nanoparticle. This is having silver ions. Silver ions, a salt of silver, we know a common salt, that is AgNO3. We use it in the labs, silver nitrate. Okay, so the silver nitrate is colorless, very well we know, right? And this, what is shown, a milky thing in the first bottle, that is a capping agent or a stabilizing agent. So to keep the nanoparticles in the diffused form, we need to have a stabilizing agent. If you don't use a stabilizing agent, then what will happen is these nanoparticles will slowly, as I said, they are cluster of atoms. छोटे छोटे एटम्स ज्वाइन होकर नैनो साइज पर आते हैं, और सीधे अगर आप उसको रेस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं करेंगे तो वो और बड़े होते जाएंगे. तो इन ऑर्डर टू रेस्ट्रिक्ट, वी मेक यूज ऑफ सम stabilizing agent. So this is, I will come to that also when we see the synthesis of nanoparticles. So for now, this is what it is. And so this is colorless because there are no nanoparticles. And when you make nanoparticles, you end up getting a yellow color. This indicates that nanoparticles have formed. And if you increase if the size is increased, then there is a change in color from yellow to brown to dark brown. So the color changes even by changing the size, but keeping it in nano form only. Nano में ही अगर आप 10 से 50 से 100 जाते हो तो ऐसे color changes आपको मिल सकते हैं. You look for gold. If you see, these are the color changes that you will observe in gold solution. Okay, when it is below 1 nanometers, 30 nanometers, or greater than that, it will show changes from red to purple to violet almost. And this is the yellow color, is the bulk metal. Okay, that is golden color that I was telling you. So these changes will happen only by changing the size. So now, how do you see the nanoparticles? I just told you that you cannot see the nanoparticles, right? So then how one can see? Because if you can't see the nanoparticles, then how can you know whether the nanoparticle, अभी मैंने आपको red solution बता दिया आपको ये सब solutions बताए, तो आप बोलेंगे कि why I should believe that these are gold nanoparticles? And आप believe करोगे तो ठीक है, but a scientist will not believe unless the other scientist gives a proof. If I claim that I have made a nanoparticle, I have to prove, because this can be even a solution of say phenolphthalein or something, right? You can put a red dye or a yellow dye. All types of dyes are available. You can make a solution and you can say that these are nanoparticles. Okay, so then when you see, now microscope doesn't help, as I said, because light say to wo chote hain. Then we have developed electron microscopes. So okay, so sorry, this nanoparticle studies became easy when electron microscopes came into picture. So an electron microscope doesn't work on the principle of light microscope. Okay, so it can visualize even smaller objects. So it's an electron beam, and nanoparticles are bigger than the electron beam, and therefore you can see them. And so if you see a good nanoparticle solution, these type of particles would be visible. And the inset shows a single particle. So, and what you see here are different morphologies. You can see different morphologies, right? That is spherical. You can see diamonds. You can see cubes, right? So you can make nanoparticles of different shapes also. Okay. Then next, now this is interesting. So these were nanoparticles. Now these are not nanoparticles, you can see, they are nanowires. So you can make even nanowires. Now the question is that if they are wires, how they are nano? If they are wires, how they are going to be nano, right? So I told you in the first slide itself that a size or less than 100 nanometers in one dimension. In one dimension. So if you see the cross section, if you cut these wires, then the cross section will be less than 100 nanometers. The length of these wires may not be less than 100 nanometers. They are definitely going to be longer. You can see this, what you have a line showing 200 nanometers or 500 nanometers. This is called a scale. This is how one can determine the size in an electron microscope. Okay, you have a line. So that line is of 200 nanometers. Here you have a line in the second figure B, wherein it is equal to 500 nanometers. So if you have to compare the cross section of this wire, which is less than, it must be about 1/5 of this line. Okay, and the length is much more, but so therefore this wire is longer, much longer than even 500 nanometers, but the cross section is smaller. Okay, so this is how we can say that we can make not only different shapes of the particles, but we can have nanowires also. This is where nanotechnology it can help us in development of miniature instruments and all. So now again, one more reason why nanoparticles have different properties. So when you talk about bulk materials, bulk matlab macro sized material, normal हमारा जो है, उसमें what happens? That is about 1 micrometer अगर हम देखते हैं, okay, larger than 1 micrometer. The percentage of atoms at the surface is much lower relative to the total number of atoms of the material. The surface, atoms on the surface. Okay. So when you have a big particle, what do you understand this? You have to understand this sentence. You try to read and try to understand and try to imagine. What does it say? It says that if you have a big particle and you have some surface atoms will be there in a big particle also, in a small particle also. But in a bigger particle, the surface atoms are not very important because they are compared to the bulk, compared to the particles inside, the surface atoms are much less. But if you reduce the size of the particle, then what happens? The surface atoms become more important. See, for example, when you have studied catalysis, right? So in catalysis, we say that surface area is very important. है ना? ज़्यादा surface area होता है तो catalysis is better. Okay, do you remember this? That if in a catalysis, if you have studied some process, you come across the word finely divided. Catalyst finely divided, platinum finely divided, nickel. Okay, so finely divided या फिर gauze है ना, gauze form में use करते हैं. Okay, surface area क्यों ज़्यादा चाहिए? यही reason है वो भी कि surface atoms का importance बढ़ता है जब size कम होती है. Okay. The properties of materials change as their size approaches the nanoscale because the percentage of atoms at the surface of a material become significant. Same thing which I just said. Okay. For example, suppose you take a copper wire. Okay. So copper wire is supposed to be very malleable, and we know all metals have property of malleability and ductility. And if you make and copper is very much useful because electrical applications के लिए maximum use हम लोग copper का करते हैं. Good electrical conductivity and all properties that it has. And one of them is that you can make long wires, very long wires. यहाँ कहाँ से electricity produce होती है, कहाँ पहुँच जाती है. Okay, through these wires you can make very long wires and you can roll them. ऐसे wires के rolls आपने बहुत commonly देखे होंगे, right? तो हम ऐसा सोचते हैं कि ये सब तो बहुत common है, यहाँ वहाँ पड़ा होता है तो हम कभी सोचते नहीं है, okay, कि ये इसमें भी कुछ science है, right? So इतना hard होता है copper as such is a metal, है ना? लेकिन हम इसको आराम से wire को ऐसे ऐसे घुमा सकते हैं, right? So but अगर हम if we make copper nanoparticles और if we take a copper nanowire, like nanowire अगर हम बनाएंगे तो हम उसको ऐसा fold नहीं कर सकते. A copper nanoparticles which have less than 50 nanometers, they will become super hard materials. They will become super hard materials and the ductility will be gone. It will not have the same malleability and ductility. So why this bending? How this takes place? You make a wire and you try to bend. So what happens when you bend? It's a big wire. So what happens? Inside there is a movement of the atoms. Wire का diameter बड़ा है, इसलिए atoms easily ऊपर नीचे move करके वो bending allow कर देते हैं. जो बीच की spaces हैं वो adjust हो जाती है. लेकिन अगर आपका wire 50 mm का है, तो there is no space for the atoms to move here and there. So that wire you cannot fold. It will go straight ही जाएगा वो. उसको आप fold नहीं कर सकते हैं. It will become super hard. Okay, so these level of property you can affect simply by changing the size. Now, so all this, what is the origin of all this, right? So उनको लगा होगा बहुत नया है, मैंने जैसे कहा ना अभी 5 साल 10 साल से बहुत ज्यादा लोग काम कर रहे हैं, but you won't believe or you must be knowing also that the father, or the main person who visualized about these nanomaterials, Feynman, he was a Nobel laureate, and he didn't get the Nobel Prize for nanoparticles. He got Nobel Prize for quantum physics. Okay, in 1965, and that is more than so many years ago, right? And so he gave a lecture in 1959, and which is it's very famous, called "There's a plenty of room at the bottom." So when he said that, he meant the materials. If you go down and down, if you control their size, right, then there is a lot of things that you can do. Plenty of room ka matlab kya? You can do a lot of things. You just increase the size, decrease the size of the particles. So this is long before anything nano could have been imagined, simply because electron microscopes were not there. So this was the hypothesis. But as I said, people have to prove, you have to give proofs. And till we had electron microscopes, it was difficult to prove. So he said that if you want to make small circuits, small machines, we call as miniaturization, what we call, nowadays we have small instruments, our small mobile can do so many things, right? That's what supercomputer could do. A lot of such work our small mobile is doing, right? So for that, if we have to work, he said that if you need to work with, you need to manipulate atoms and molecules on a small scale. आपको अगर small equipments बनाने हैं तो nothing can be smaller than atoms and molecules. You have to work with atoms and molecules only. If you make anything, it will be bigger. So this is what he meant. And the proof of nanomaterials was given 30 years later. Okay. So now we have different branches. Nano has become to that extent इतना ज़्यादा, इसमें भी हमने ब्रांच बना दी है. जैसे हमारे साइंस में केमिस्ट्री फिजिक्स मैंने जो बताया आपको, सेम वे अभी नैनो में भी इतना वर्क, when the work increases, the branching takes place. It is just to make it simple. Doesn't mean that one branch person should not touch the other branch. Okay, so you have nano science, you have nano medicine, and you have nano technology. Okay, the methods of synthesis of nanoparticles are physical, chemical, biological. All people are trying to make nano. You can make nanoparticles with all these three methods. And the approaches are common: top down, bottom up. Okay. So what do you mean by top down? See, nano lies in between. A nano size lies between the macro and the angstrom level atoms and molecules. Okay. So either you can go from a bigger molecule to the lower molecules, यानी आप बड़े macro लो और nano पे जाओ. That is called top down, which is done by physical method like laser ablation. यानी क्या करते हैं कि you take some metal or something, a sheet or something, and you give laser treatment to it and make it to evaporate and then bring to the nano size. And the other way is, say for example, a chemical method. There what you do, you work with ions. Now ions are smaller than nanoparticles. So here you are going by the bottom up. आप atom लेते हो, छोटे हैं atoms, उनको आप बड़ा करके nanoparticle बनाओगे, cluster of atoms बनाओगे. तो सबसे पहले तो nanoparticles में का oxidation state 0 है. They are metal का ही है, वो metal ही है of nano size, and metals have 0 oxidation state. So these nanoparticles have 0 oxidation state, ionic नहीं है, इसीलिए उनके solutions transparent होना थोड़ा surprising है. Ions के solution तो transparent होते ही है, that we know, right? Because they are ions, they split into cations and anions, and they are much smaller, and so they will dissolve in the solvent. They'll get solvated. But here you have metals in the oxidation, 0 oxidation state. But simply because of the size, they remain suspended. So this is simple. So plus से अगर 0 करना है तो हमको पता है it is called reduction, right? So you can reduce by chemical reagents like sodium borohydride and all that. And this is called as, this is a chemical method, and this is a bottom up approach. Okay. And then, but you have to be, as I said, you need to use a stabilizing agent. Otherwise क्या होगा, ये तो बहुत बड़ा particle भी बन जाएगा. तो यहाँ पे, of course, every technique has to have, इतना easy तो नहीं है कुछ भी. Okay, जो दिखता है पेपर पे, it is the size control is very important. Okay, so for example people use polymers. Okay, so polymer solution use करते हैं, तो what happens is that polymers में ions trap हो जाते हैं, और उसके बाद इस तरह से slowly वो रिड्यूस भी होते हैं और क्लस्टर में ग्रो होके वो कन्फाइंड रहते हैं, बहुत बड़ा क्लस्टर भी नहीं बन जाता है, दे रिमेन इनटू देयर नैनो साइज. अ स्मॉलर क्लस्टर विल शो रेड कलर, अ बिगर क्लस्टर विल शो अ ब्लू कलर. ओके, and you can use different reducing agent like hydrazine, sodium citrate, different polymers are used as stabilizing agent. Okay, so and sorry, may I know how much time I have?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Okay.
still 20 minutes.
Oh, 20 more minutes. Fine, fine. Then,
Yes, yes.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So now let us talk about the applications, right? So as मैं तो बोल रही हूँ कब से they are very important, this, that. But now let us talk about the exact applications. Okay. So for example, cosmetics. Okay, you know lots of cosmetics you can see when you go to a mall or something. So they use nanoparticles. For example, in sunscreen, people use zinc oxide, titanium dioxide type of nanoparticles. So these nanoparticles have an ability to block the sun. So therefore, they are useful in the sunscreens. But when you apply the sunscreens, these nanoparticles will enter the pores of the skin, right? That though you are applying externally, हम तो बाहर लगाते हैं, right? हमको लगता है बाहर लग रहा है, but वो तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपके सिस्टम में पार्टिकल्स खाली आपके माउथ से जाते हैं, they go by various routes, है ना? For example, coronavirus also can go through so many routes are there, nose, ear, this, that, right? So these can also go through your skin, right? When you apply on the skin, they are likely to get absorbed into your body. So the safety part is very important, right? Whether they are safe or not. So because they are nano size, they are able to pass through the cell membranes also. See, cell membranes are very rigid; they don't allow anything to pass through. Okay, because their function is that to stop unnecessary things going into the body. That's how our immunity system works, right? So, but these nanoparticles are capable of going into the cell membranes also. So before using these materials for the cosmetics and such applications, one has to be very careful about their safety. So now safety is one thing. Second thing is that they are able to cross the biological membrane. So why can't we use that property also? So cosmetics was one application. Second application that we can see is that as antimicrobial agents. As antimicrobial agents. Okay. So ions of silver and copper are known to be antimicrobial agents since years. बहुत सालों से हमको पता है. इसीलिए ऐसा बोलते हैं ना, कॉपर के वेसल में पानी पीना है, सिल्वर के वेसल में पानी पीते हैं, सिल्वर के वेसल में खाते हैं. People used to, it's not just to show off that it's that there are reasons for that. Okay, they are good for the body, they are considered good for the body. And nowadays तो बहुत सारे advertisements भी आते हैं, तो आपको पता है, right? So ये reason they show that they are able to induce some antibacterial property. Even your this Chyawanprash, there also people show that it contains Sona Chandi Chyawanprash and all, right? So silver, even this silver का वो life boy soap आता है, right? So they said that ions are good. So ions are good for as antimicrobial agents, but we cannot consume ions because the dosage is very important. अगर हम ज़्यादा dosage ले लेते हैं तो हमको उसका adverse effect आ सकता है. हमारे toxicity, something which can be toxic to the microorganisms, can be toxic to our body also. It is only a matter of concentration. The concentration which can kill them does not kill us. But if you go higher in concentration, the same thing can become poison for us, right? So therefore, concentrations of ions have to be controlled, which is very difficult. Okay, so therefore, so as I said, high dose of ions can be toxic. So if you have nanoparticles, on the contrary, they are in the zero oxidation state. So what happens? They can release metal ions slowly in water by this equation. Okay. So what happens? You can consume nanoparticles because they are not ionic. They will not be toxic, but slowly they will release ions, and therefore they will give at a given time the concentration of ions is not very high, and therefore the antimicrobial effect can be there. So they can be effective antimicrobial agents, and side effects can be very less. And actually people are now antibiotics and all, people are fed up of antibiotics, and people are trying to see various methods, because it's not necessary that antibiotics are the only way, because Ayurveda and all, they have their own path. They don't believe this is allopathy, right? So there's Ayurveda and all, they believe that it's not necessary to have these synthetic medicines. There are different ways to get cure for various diseases. Okay, but they are slow methods, that's why they are not so much prevalent. हम लोग अभी भी एलोपैथी पर रिलाई करते हैं, बट ये सब अभी चल रहा है. Someday we will get solutions. Okay, so people are working on this, that how to develop antimicrobial agents based on nanoparticles, wherein the side effects can be controlled. You know that antibiotics have harmful side effects. Okay, so this is one again study from our lab. We had done some study in our lab. We had prepared some silver nanoparticles. I showed you the figures. मैंने वो colorful figure दिखाया था. तो हमने वो different concentration के silver nanoparticles we had prepared, and then we tried to see their antimicrobial activity by the usual way, जैसे antibiotics का test करते हैं वैसे ही. So this is a photograph of that. So this is a culture plate बोलते हैं इसको. कल्चर प्लेट में क्या करते हैं कि इसमें ये जो अगार अगार होता है, पेट्री डिश है जिसमें अगार अगार जेली से पूरा पेट्री डिश भर दिया है, एंड देन उसमें क्या करते हैं, दे पुट सम मीडियम which is required for the bacteria to grow, and then they put bacterial solution inside. Inoculation बोलते हैं उसको. तो वो जो बैक्टीरिया क्या करेगा, अंदर जो ग्रोथ उन्होंने सोल्यूशन डाला है मीडिया, उसको लेके वो ग्रो करता है. बैक्टीरिया आर वेरी फास्ट ग्रोइंग, तो आप उसको 24 आवर्स छोड़ो तो वो कॉलोनी बना देता है. तो ये आपको जो पूरा पेट्री डिश दिख रहा है, हेजी सम पेल येलो कलर का, दे आर ऑल दैट इज अ बैक्टीरियल कॉलोनी. ओके, so then what they do, the next they do is they make holes बनाते हैं, और बाद में उसमें क्या डालते हैं, antimicrobial agent. They inject the antimicrobial agent into it. The so called antimicrobial, अगर वो effective है तो वो क्या करेगा, it will clear off the bacterial colony उसके आजू बाजू में. You can see there is a clear sphere. हर होल के बाजू में आपको clear sphere दिख रहा है. So that is what it is showing, that the colony has been cleared. The antimicrobial agent has killed the bacteria, bactericidal effect, and therefore this is called zone of inhibition. इसको बोलते हैं inhibit किया बैक्टीरिया को, और ये zone of inhibition create हुआ. तो ये zone of inhibition proof होता है कि the material which has been injected is having antimicrobial effect. And this is a different concentration. So you can see that, the zone of inhibition is increasing slowly. Okay, that shows that as the concentration is increasing, the more and more bacteria are getting killed. Now what concentration is appropriate then? As you go on increasing concentration, more and more bacteria will die. But I told you that if you take too much concentration, then you will only die. है ना? तो वो तो हमको नहीं चाहिए, right? Our cells should be intact, and side effect भी हो सकता है. इसीलिए हमको एक वो देखना है अभी कि इसकी साइड इफेक्ट ह्यूमन सेल्स पे क्या इफेक्ट है, ये बैक्टीरियल सेल पे हमने देखा, राइट? तो ओके, दिस आई स्किप दैट, वो बाद में लेती हूँ मैं. सो दिस इज व्हाट, सो देन वी डिड द स्टडी विथ ह्यूमन सेल्स आल्सो. ओके, सो दीज आर डिफरेंट ह्यूमन सेल्स. दिस अ ग्राफ, डिफरेंट ह्यूमन सेल्स, ये डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स के साथ कनेक्टेड सेल्स हैं. ओके, तो ये एक्सपेरिमेंट हमने बायोलॉजी वालों के साथ कोलैबोरेशन में किया. तो वही मैंने कहा कि केमिस्ट्री और बायोलॉजी का यूनाइट होके हम लोग काम करते हैं. ऐसा नहीं भाई ये सब हम नहीं कर सकते. दिस इज द जॉब ऑफ अ बायोलॉजिस्ट. ही इज स्पेशलाइज्ड टू डू दिस टाइप ऑफ वर्क. So they help us. Okay, so you have to give them the material and they have to do this test for us. So what is this showing? So these are different cells, and ये जो y-axis पे जो है वो सेल वायबिलिटी है. ओके, सेल वायबिलिटी का मतलब कि हाउ मेनी इज वायबल, मतलब लिविंग. सो 100% वायबिलिटी इज द मैक्सिमम, राइट? सो when you inject, and these different lines are corresponding to different concentrations. ये जो यहाँ पे साइड पे कॉन्सेंट्रेशन 50 नैनोग्राम, 100 नैनोग्राम, राइट, तो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन दिया है. तो वो जो इफेक्टिवनेस है वो नैनोग्राम कॉन्सेंट्रेशन पे है, और उस कॉन्सेंट्रेशन पे हमारे ह्यूमन सेल्स को कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. 100% वायबिलिटी है, ऑलमोस्ट 85% वायबिलिटी अगर है तो मटेरियल नॉन टॉक्सिक है. उससे लोअर अगर जाता है देन इट बिकम्स टॉक्सिक. सो वी हैव सीन इन डिफरेंट सेल्स, डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स के सेल्स पे हमने देखा कि इट इज नॉट शोइंग टॉक्सिसिटी. दिस इज नोन एज MTT assay. Okay, this is very common assay to see whether something is toxic or not. Okay, so this is how we could prove that these are effective antimicrobial agents, but at the same time they are not harmful to the human cells. So this is how, this is a complete study. When you want to claim that something is antimicrobial, you have to also claim that it is not toxic to the humans. This is another application, that we can do some cellular imaging. What one can do is, these nanoparticles, we can they are after all metal particles. They are simply metal के zero oxidation के state के particles हैं. तो आप उनके साथ you can attach them with some chemicals. Okay, we can attach them, covalently attach, and there are several ways. For example, gold nanoparticles, they have an affinity for silver. बिल्कुल जो लिगैंड मेटल इंटरेक्शंस होते हैं वैसे ही इंटरेक्शंस होते हैं, जैसे कॉम्प्लेक्सेस बनते हैं, समथिंग सिमिलर. Okay, so you gold nanoparticles have in silver also they have affinity for sulfur. So अगर आप सल्फर वाला कोई कंपाउंड डालते हो तो वो उसके साथ बाइंड हो सकते हैं. ओके, तो आप फिर उसके साथ आप डाई लगा सकते हो, फ्लोरेसेंट डाई. So when you do that, then what happens, because of the nano size, these particles will go into the cell. They can go into the cell. So when you go into, but then you have attached a fluorescent dye, हमने टैग लगाया है, इसको हम टैगिंग बोलते हैं, फ्लोरेसेंट टैगिंग. तो हमने उसके ऊपर एक फ्लोरेसेंट लेबल लगा दिया है, तो वो सेल में जाएगा तो साथ में लेबल को भी लेके जाएगा. तो क्या होगा, सेल के अंदर वी कैन सी द फ्लोरेसेंस. तो आप माइक्रोस्कोप में आपको सेल्स, कलर्ड सेल्स दिखेंगे. तो आपको पर्टिकुलरली किसी टैग करना है किसी सेल को, तो आप टैग कर सकते हो. So this cellular imaging is another area which biologists are interested in, and we can make materials based on nanoparticles for cellular imaging. Okay, then now so this we have shown non-toxicity, right? But now let us see, go further. Antimicrobial हमने देखा, cellular imaging हमने देखा, right? So अभी एक बहुत important disease जो है पूरे देश में या पूरे वर्ल्ड में जो है, that is cancer. Okay, so can we do something in that area? Lot of work is being done in anti-cancer regime based on nanoparticles. So now I'll take you to that. Okay, so rather than taking, we can even design materials which can which can be harmful to the cancer cells. Okay, we just design materials which are not harmful to the human cells, but we can, the same nanoparticles, we can design them in some such a way, we can bind them to certain ligands, certain polymers in such a way that you can induce toxicity in the cancer cells. So we have even done that type of study, and we can see that that is one thing. Then what other thing that can happen is that these nanoparticles themselves, if the concentration is increased, then they can be harmful to the cancer cells. So this was nanogram concentration, which was not harmful to the cells. If you go to microgram level, then you can induce toxicity into the cells. So they can kill the cancer cells. So chemotherapy also one can use nanoparticles. So this is a fluorescent microscopy, which can prove visually that nanoparticles can kill cells. So cell death you can observe. So people use certain dyes for that, and you can see some green colored cells and some red colored cells here. So the red colored cells are dead cells. Green colored ones are the live cells. Okay, so but as the concentration increases, you can see these all images are with different concentrations. You can see that the red cells go on increasing. So cell death is increasing. This you can prove with the help of fluorescent microscopy in case of cancer cells with increasing concentration. So one can work in anti-cancer agents also using nanoparticles. But as I said, if they are able to kill the cancer cells, they can kill the good cells also. This is the only problem with chemotherapy that is existing now. Now also we have chemotherapy agents, drugs are there, which can kill the cancer cells. But the problem is they kill the good cells also. They are not able to distinguish. They are not able to distinguish कि ये cancerous cell है और ये अच्छा वाला cell है. तो उनका काम तो सेल को मारना है, तो वो आजू बाजू जो भी सेल्स है सबको मार देते हैं, राइट? तो इसीलिए कैंसर थेरेपी में सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या है? टारगेटेड डिलीवरी टू द ट्यूमर सेल्स। तो ये एक है एरिया जहाँ पे आप बहुत सारा काम कर सकते हैं। सो आई शोड यू सो मेनी एप्लीकेशंस, राइट, दैट यू कैन डू। फिजिक्स एप्लीकेशंस थोड़े मैंने कम कवर किए हैं, बट वी कैन वर्क इन दैट एरिया आल्सो। So there is a plenty of room at bottom, as Feynman said. That is, there's a lot to do when you working with nanoparticles. The point is whether you are ready to work with them, right? So I think yeah, I'd like to stop. Or do you want me to continue, or it's fine?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's fine.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll go ahead and take some time for questions.
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay. So here the first question. Nanoparticles to a certain extent is poisonous. So how can we use these in medical applications?
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I said, that one has to. This is what I showed you is very simple picture of the nanoparticles, but people have made lots of hybrid materials out of these nanoparticles. They are only a platform. They are only a platform. आप उसको यूज कर सकते हो, उसके साथ आप बहुत कुछ अटैच कर सकते हो। तो आप उसके ऊपर क्या करते हैं? बायोकम्पैटिबल कोटिंग कर देते हैं, कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स लगा देते हैं उसके ऊपर, शुगर, बायोमोलिक्यूल्स, वो सब लगा देते हैं। So that what happens is that their toxicity is reduced. ये जो मैंने बताया ना कि कैपिंग एजेंट या स्टेबलाइजिंग एजेंट यूज करते हैं, तो वो हम नेचुरल मटेरियल्स को भी यूज कर सकते हैं। So that will reduce its toxicity. There's a lot of work that people are doing to reduce their toxicity. It is possible.
Okay, ma'am. The second question. How to know coating efficiency of nanoparticles? Like one of the student is trying to coat zinc oxide nanoparticles with silica. So how to know that how much of zinc oxide is coated?
Okay. Okay. How much of he's trying to coat it with silica?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So if you must be using some known concentration of silica, you must be using just some known concentration of silica, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, and
Yes.
you must be isolating the nanoparticles at the end of the experiment by, say, magnetic magnet.
Yes.
Then you have your residual solution. आपने एक known concentration पहले लिया,
Yes.
और ये रिएक्शन किया, कोट किया, और आपने नैनो पार्टिकल आइसोलेट करके आपका जो बाकी का सोल्यूशन बचता है, उसमें आप सिलिका आपको डिटरमिन करना पड़ेगा. That will give you an idea. A second thing is what you can do is you can take that silica coated iron oxide and add it in, treat it with aqua regia or HNO3. It will become soluble. Known concentration लेना है और aqua regia में आपको ट्रीट करना है, तो वो उसमें soluble हो जाएगा. फिर आप उसका ICP या AS आप करवा सकते हो, तो आपको पता चलेगा.
Okay, ma'am. Next question. How to prepare bimetallic nanoparticles?
Bimetallic nanoparticles. Okay, so you have to take mixture of the two. You have to. They can be called as alloys also. You can take. So you have to take mixture of. You have to put both at the same time in the capping agent solution. I showed you one. ये जो केमिकल मेथड है उसमें कर सकते हैं हम. अब मैंने जैसे यहाँ पे सिर्फ गोल्ड लिया है, तो आप सिर्फ सिल्वर साथ में क्लोराइड डालते हैं, और what happens is you will get a bimetallic. That is one. Second thing is then you will get an alloy. Another way you can make is you make the nanoparticles of gold. Then you take these nanoparticles and now you add silver ions onto this and reduce the silver ion. So what will happen? The silver ion will form coating on the gold nanoparticle. उसको बोलते हैं कोर शेल. तो आप कोर शेल भी बना सकते हो. कोर होगा गोल्ड का, ऊपर शेल होगा सिल्वर का. कोर शेल भी बना सकते हो आप, बायोमेटालिक.
Okay. So, ma'am, the next question is what is the difference between bimetallic and core shell nanoparticles?
Okay, I just said that. So that is, core shell means one metal is the core, the other is over it. When you want to make a core shell, you have to make the first nanoparticle first, and then make the second reduction of the second metal on the surface of the first one. आप दोनों को एक साथ रिड्यूस करोगे तो आपको बाइमेटालिक मिलेगा.
Okay. Okay. And next question. What is the impact of nanotechnology application in packaging? Will it help in the pollution?
Okay. Packaging, very good. Okay, very, very good question. So, right now we are using a lot of plastics for packaging, right? Okay, so what we can do here is that we can have one work that my patent is something related to that only, but actually I somehow I have not been able to show that here. So we can use some biocompatible materials in the nano form. For example, I have worked with polysaccharide nanoparticles. We have made some polysaccharides are like starch, cellulose, and all. You know them very well, right? So we can make nanoparticles of this starch, cellulose, and all, and we can disperse them in the this packaging films, because starch and cellulose packaging materials actually have to be very cheap. अगर वो बहुत कॉस्टली होते हैं तो उनका यूज, क्योंकि उनका बहुत यूज एंड थ्रो टाइप का काम है, इसलिए उसका वहां पे इकोनॉमी बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करती है. तो अगर आप बहुत कॉस्टली पैकेजिंग मटेरियल यूज करेंगे तो वो फिर कॉस्ट में नहीं बैठता है. इस दैट्स द बेसिक प्रॉब्लम, you know, that we are not able to get a biodegradable polymer still, because cost comes into the picture. So when you work with cheap materials like starch and cellulose, they are not very costly materials. तो उनके नैनो पार्टिकल्स हमने डिस्पर्स कर दिए प्लास्टिक में. ऐसे प्लास्टिक्स अगर आप यूज करते हो पैकेजिंग वगैरह में, तो व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट योर कॉस्ट गेट्स रिड्यूस्ड and the biodegradable component comes into the picture, and that will help to degrade the entire packaging materials.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like that we have covered all questions. So yes, thank you, ma'am, and thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.